record and start talking right now.
Welcome to the Be Kind podcast with your host, Joe Kirkner, presented by the Animal Advocates of South Central Pennsylvania.
Welcome to the Animal Advocates podcast, the Be Kind podcast. We're on a mission to make a more compassionate and loving world for all creatures, big, small, large, tall, small, petite, all good, all creatures, all lovable, so we love them. And just as a reminder, you can find us wherever podcasts are sold, on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and all those other weird podcast hosting platforms that you somehow find yourself on. They're a thing. And I have the honor of being joined today by John Beck once again.
Hey.
And Natalie Whistler, a YouTube video content creator who has agreed to come on and share a little bit about her work and her vegan experiences. Hi, Natalie.
Hello. How are you?
We are doing just fine. It is a beautiful Sunday, and we are getting ready for a very productive week full of great things. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Thank you for having me on.
And before we launch into some of the more heavy questions, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself, your vegan journey, and what takes up most of your time nowadays?
Yeah, so my name is Natalie. Again, I'm 24 years old. I model, and I also make videos on YouTube. And I'm vegan, of course.
How long have you been vegan for?
So I started my vegan journey in 2017. I was taking summer classes at my university, and I was in a health class, and we started learning about foods and stuff like that. And I had started getting into watching some documentaries, and I just started questioning what I was putting in my body. And I got more interested in it, and I started looking up more creators who were vegan and pages, and started learning more and more. And now I've been officially vegan for about a year and a half.
Awesome.
So how'd you originally get into making vegan videos on YouTube? And I suppose while we're on the topic, could you tell us a little bit about your vegan YouTube channel?
I started it about a year ago. I wasn't as consistent with it as I am now, but I had seen a lot of vegans on YouTube, and they were all just perfect, perfectly aesthetic vegans, and always had beautiful recipes and stuff. But I really liked other creators on YouTube who were more fun and relatable and quirky. So I had always grown up watching YouTube and watching creators, and I was like, you know what? I feel like there isn't that vegan creator on YouTube who could just be your best friend, is very relaxed, is cool, is kind of quirky, fun, and isn't perfect. So I really kind of wanted to create that space on YouTube, a very non-judgmental, fun, chill place for vegans, and also for non-vegans to kind of normalize it, make it a place where it's just the normal content you would watch on YouTube, but a spin on it with veganism.
It is an awesome YouTube channel that happens to be vegan is a theme that comes up time and time again. That awesomeness plus that happens to be vegan is the best way to attract people to the movement. So yeah, that's awesome.
Thank you.
I really like your YouTube channel too. Like you said, it's so quirky and unique, and it's so fun. And I've been watching your videos for a couple months now, and they're just so entertaining, and it's... And as someone that's an editor myself, I do almost all of our videos on our Animal Advocates YouTube channel and everything. And I just was wondering, kind of curious how you do your editing process, because do you do it all in one shot, or do you do multiple takes and then cut out your favorite parts and put that together that way? Or how do you go about that?
For the listeners, Natalie's videos have a lot of cuts in them, and they jump from shot to shot quite frequently. So along John's question, we were wondering do you literally film yourself for 3 seconds, stop, and then go again, or do you just edit the bejesus out of a super duper long clip?
I literally spend 3 days editing the crap out of them.
Oh, wow.
So I will literally just sometimes I'll move my camera. If I'm cooking, I'll do a wider shot, and then I'll move over to my stove or something if I'm cooking something. But for the most part, I just shoot a straight video. I probably film for about 3 hours. And then at the end, I just will end it and then edit it. So if like I'm filming and I say something that I was like, that wasn't that funny, I'll redo it. Like I'll in the same shot, I'll just repeat what I said or repeat my outro or something like that. Like I'll do a couple of the same ones, and then in my editing, I'll choose which ones that I like and kind of mishmash it together. And I use Shotcut.
Okay.
It's like a free one that you can use on your computer.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little finicky, but I make it work.
Yeah, I mean, it looks great.
I just use a lot of like Zoom features and texts and stuff like that. I'm still working on it because I haven't been doing it for that long. So trying to like get better as I go.
Yeah, it looks great though. I mean, your cutting is very well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're not talking about veganism right now, but this is all still cool stuff to know. But I like it too, because even though, like you said, it's just one long take for you, the way you cut up keeps the watchers. Yeah, watchers.
Yeah,
the viewers. The viewers' attention more, just because it's not just one person talking for 10 minutes, even though it's technically the same angle. The fact it jumps around makes it much more engaging. So
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and again, that's kind of what I was trying to like do with it, because I wanted to create the vegan content, but I wanted it to be like really fun to watch. Like I'm not the best cook, it's very obvious, but I think it's fun to watch. And again, it normalizes that, you know, vegan cooking isn't this like perfectly aesthetic thing that happens. It's like, no, real people, you know, mess up and aren't that great either.
So a lot of your videos are about food and cooking, and your last couple ones were about weird food combinations, Just Egg review, and that actually inspired me to get Just Egg sandwich today, and it was very good. So thank you again for
so good. Oh, I'm glad.
And something that I think is fascinating with the vegan movement is just the sheer quirkiness of the food sometimes. And I was wondering, are there any vegan foods out there that you just don't get? For example, for me, I don't get why vegan Beyond Sausage is a thing, or why we feel the need to recreate sausage. The concept is gross when it's not vegan. So what vegan was out there saying, you know what, I want to recreate this thing that's essentially made of the worst parts of any type of poor animal in a vegan way. So that's mine. So I was wondering if you had any similar foods that you just really don't get.
Yeah, so that's interesting. I really love the Beyond sausages.
I do too.
Yeah, I think they're great.
But I see what you're
I mean, because there's
sure.
a lot of people, and I'm one of them, who went vegan, but it's not because I didn't like the taste of meat. You know what I mean? I really enjoyed it. So those like weird, gross things that, you know, once you realize what they really are, like you want nothing to do with, but a vegan version is pretty appealing.
Yeah.
The thing that I don't get that vegans eat is Daiya cheese. I really don't get it. I don't understand how anybody could love that. I think it's so bad, but I think there's so many good vegan cheese alternatives. It like makes me mad when Daiya is the option, just because it could be so good, but
right.
Daiya is just not it.
Yeah, it's funny you brought that up, because I make mac and cheese. I think I told you about this before in another conversation, but my mac and cheese that I used to sell and everything, I actually used Daiya as the base, because when I first started making it, Daiya was the only thing out there. So I didn't really have a choice, but I found a way to not make it taste like garbage. It's hard. It's hard work. Right. But no, I totally understand why people are like, oh, this is the worst thing ever, because it is. If you don't doctor it up, it's pretty awful. But,
yeah.
Well, it's like rhubarb. I mean, if you need to make a pie with rhubarb and add 5 pounds of sugar to make it edible, why are you using rhubarb to make a pie?
So true. It's so true. Yeah.
So, John, what's your food that you just don't get?
Oh, geez.
She already said Daiya, so you can't.
I can't really use Daiya. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really have anything. The only thing I don't like that this isn't even a vegan thing, but mushrooms. But vegans love mushrooms for some reason.
No.
I can't stand mushrooms.
You're not cooking them right.
No, they just taste like dirt to me. I don't understand why people think that's like.
They call that unami, John.
Well, it tastes like dirt.
What? That's the alternative word for dirt?
Yeah.
No, it's that je ne sais quoi savory taste that foods had. They call it unami.
Well, yeah. Anyway, dirt. No,
okay, but for real though, you have to try shiitake mushrooms, like sliced up thin, and bake it in the oven. Like,
Okay.
it tastes so good. I guarantee you'll like it.
All right.
Maybe I'll make a video on it for you.
Okay, that'd be cool. Oh, but back to, since you're talking about videos and food and stuff, back to your most recent episode. I know this is kind of dating the episode now, but you did have weird foods that you were trying out, and I had mentioned to you yesterday about doing peanut butter and jelly burritos, because that was something I used to do.
Dude, that sounds awesome.
So weird.
I'm great. I didn't
Wait,
have
you
any.
didn't say peanut butter and jelly. You said peanut butter and jelly and something else. Like,
Well-
you had something else in it.
Oh,
didn't you?
Swedish fish. I use Swedish fish.
Yeah, what? Who does that?
Me?
It's so wrong. That's like a 4-year-old put together like a meal for themselves.
Exactly.
Dude, you throw
Every
a banana
kid's
in
dream.
there, you throw it on a panini press.
Okay,
you
that
got
would be
yourself
good.
something
A
good.
banana up in that would be really good. But I was like in poverty, so I didn't have those things. I just had like trash laying around. It's like, I have no bread. I need a peanut
Wait,
butter and
you
jelly.
can't afford a banana, but you can afford Swedish
We go.
fish? Come
We
on
start
now.
wars so you could go out there and buy a banana for 49 cents a pound. All right, so
Sorry, I'm a total disappointment. But yeah, that was such a funny episode, and like seeing your facial expressions trying these things, it was like, oh god, I can actually like see the horror in your face, like how bad this food is.
Yeah. Something that I do a lot is facial expressions. So I was like, this will work.
sauerkraut is a shockingly useful side dish.
Yeah.
Though at one time I
What do
read.
you use it on?
Let's see. If you like sauerkraut and avocado, sauerkraut and hummus isn't bad either.
That would be interesting. Okay.
Okay. Well,
I-
definitely try the avocado with it, because it really wasn't that bad. It's kind of good.
That did seem like a pretty good combination. So yeah, I have to try that too.
And someone said if you mix sauerkraut and nooch, it's like cheese. And I wanted to ask the person where they get their cheese because
Yeah. All right. They like Daya. End of story.
it's been 13 minutes and we've talked about literally nothing useful. All right.
Sorry.
No,
That's great. That's great.
It's nice to have a lighthearted podcast for once.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just love how you're so personal with these videos. Like, you just really reach out and you just try and make these your own personal experiences and sharing them with people. And it's just, you don't just do like food reviews and food-based things. You talk about, your personal experiences with your life, and I think it's really great that you do that, because most videos are just so pretentious and from other YouTubers, it's just like, why am I watching this? But like your
Well,
stories are
I appreciate
interesting.
that a lot.
Yeah, no, they're interesting, and I'm glad you're out there doing that. So
Thank you.
Yeah, and for anyone else who's out there looking to start making their own videos or trying to get their own following online, what's the best way to start and then also grow their audience so they can reach potential vegans or non-vegans or practicing vegans to really try and cultivate that community around their show?
That's a good question. I mean, I don't have like a huge audience right now, so I'm not sure I could be the one giving you advice on that. I haven't shared it on like my personal like social media yet, just because I'm still like testing the audience and I'm still trying to like improve and get better. But I use Reddit. Like, I join groups in Reddit and I'll like post my videos there, and I have joined like some Facebook groups just to see like what people are talking about and just kind of like be a part of that community. But I honestly just love like talking with people in the comments too. I think that makes it like a lot more personal if you're trying to like create content to actually pay attention to the people that are paying attention to you is huge. But yeah, I think it's just all about being personable and, sharing real content.
Well, speaking of people, the vegan community, especially online, does not have the greatest reputation. And I imagine when you're out there sharing your content on uncharted waters at times, especially places like Reddit, what's the reception been like, or how have you been handling your interactions with potentially toxic individuals online?
Yeah, that's definitely something that like scared me away at first, because I think, you see a lot of like very aggressive vegans online. And I think that's only not because that's the most of the vegan community, but they're just the loudest, unfortunately. So that's like what you see and hear. I've definitely gotten like a good amount of negative comments. I typically delete them, but there's a lot of people, you know, who will say things like, oh, you should be eating meat, or you know, have said terrible things like about, you know, my body because of it. And it's really about like self-confidence. Like when you put yourself out there, like you really do have to be ready for that kind of stuff. But I think, you know, I feel like I'm really lucky so far. I think most of the people who, you know, have visited my channel or have commented on my videos have been really sweet. And I that's really just what I'm trying to grow on that channel, is people who are like-minded like me, who are vegan, but, you know, aren't shoving it down your throat, even though you already are vegan, like trying to perfect you. So it does have its ups and downs, but I think I've been pretty lucky and I've connected with some really, really cool people.
I didn't send you this question ahead of time, so feel free to just throw it right back. But do you practice any other kinds of vegan advocacy, or is this really the niche you found that's your most sustainable way to be an advocate for the animals?
Yeah, so I did join a group that was in my area, and I've been to, I think, like 2 Cubes of Truth before, but I don't on a daily basis go out and do anything necessarily. But this is kind of my outlet. Like I've always really loved editing and I've always been in front of the camera. So I thought that maybe this could be my way of reaching people. And, you know, I'll share it on my Instagram. Most of my Instagram is my modeling stuff. But, you know, I'll occasionally share things on my Instagram to kind of reach people who wouldn't normally look at veganism. So I do that as well.
And you mentioned modeling. How did you get into modeling?
Yeah, so, you know, that's a really long story, but the shortened version is when I was 14, I was in a pageant, which was very not me, but I got convinced. And a agency was there scouting for models, and they picked me and said, hey, you know, I think you could be something one day. And they paid for me to kind of learn all about modeling, and then took me to New York, and I eventually signed in New York, and I've traveled to Japan twice and lived there for a little bit through a modeling contract, and now I'm back to modeling in New York.
Do you speak Japanese?
I do not. I was lucky enough to have a translator with me the whole time, so I should have learned a little bit more than I did, but when you have something to rely on like that, it's hard to motivate yourself.
I was going to say Nani, but I don't know if I'm saying that right.
Oh, no. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to translate for you.
So how is veganism perceived in the modeling community? Specifically, it's been associated with eating disorders a lot, especially among the super thin demographics, or even just the people who are trying to seek that perfection or maybe have body image issues, which is another thing that's often associated with modeling as well. So I suppose back to how is it just perceived in general within the community? Is it more of a health or ethical stance? Just any general observations or stories you may have regarding that.
Yeah, I would say that it's mostly viewed as like a diet in the industry. Like that's kind of when you tell people that you're vegan, that's kind of what comes to mind, not necessarily the ethical standpoint, just because a lot of the girls do eat, you know, pretty healthy. And when people think of veganism, they typically think of healthy. I think that's more the understanding of it. But like you said, I think unfortunately, sometimes it can get associated with eating disorders, and that's unfortunate, but it really, the two have nothing to do with each other. I think there are some girls in the industry who do have eating disorders, which is really unfortunate. And it really doesn't matter if they're vegan or not. Like there's a lot of girls who have it, and some are vegan, some aren't, but the two don't really compare.
And a lot of times when people in all professions, they run into ethical conundrums where their work responsibilities conflict or go directly against their veganism ethical practices. Do you ever find that in the modeling community? For example, maybe you have to model something made of leather, and that obviously does not align with the vegan ethic.
Right. Yeah. So I've been asked this before, and haven't really talked about it because it is difficult. We live in a non-vegan world, and I have been modeling since I was 14 and only found veganism 3 years ago. And it is my career. So, I think a lot of vegans run into that. Like, can you work at a restaurant that's not vegan if you're vegan, and things like that. I have my limitations for sure. And I will deny some jobs because, it doesn't fit, with something that I would want to promote. But, with makeup and being cruelty free, it can get very, very difficult to find jobs if you turn down all of them. So it's difficult. You have to make tough decisions, but also, try to do the best that you can.
Yeah, I'm in the same camp as you. I a lot of times have to organize events for work, and a lot of time there's food at these events. So I'm sitting there trying to figure out, do I want to order chicken salad or ham and turkey sandwiches? And I'm sitting there in the corner thinking, I don't want to order any of those. But everyone's going to give me dirty looks if they all show up and there's nothing but hummus wraps. So I've taken the incremental step of, let's say the options are burgers and hot dogs or cheese lasagna. I'll do the vegetarian option, get cheese lasagna instead. So those incremental steps that plant the seed are getting one step closer to normalizing at least vegetarianism. But also, like you, there is that fine line where if someone asks me to promote Little Dickie's chicken barbecue out there behind their church, I'm not going to raise my hand for that job.
Right. Yeah, like I'm definitely not going to take a job where I'm like eating a burger. Obviously, I've had to say no to things like that. Like I won't eat. Obviously, I won't eat it. You know what I mean? So I won't eat it on camera either. And I've said no to like fur before and things like that. But like I said, with makeup and stuff, it gets sticky. And like you said, even with your job, like a lot of jobs, I feel like you come into issues with that.
And you also touched a little bit about the extensive travel you've done. Can you tell us a little bit more about how veganism is perceived differently in different parts of the world? I think specifically a place like Tokyo would be kind of cool for people to hear about.
So in Tokyo specifically, when the first time I traveled there, I was not vegan. But the second time I did, I was pretty far along in my vegan journey. And there wasn't that many options there, at least at like your grocery store. There's definitely places in the city that had vegan options. So, I could get vegan donuts or a vegan burger somewhere, but it definitely isn't as widely, known as here in the US. I feel like it was a little bit more difficult to be vegan there. And even their fruit, like weird things that you wouldn't think about, like their fruit is really expensive. So like I couldn't eat a lot of fruit there because like they would have like a watermelon for $50. Like it was like crazy. I mean, obviously not American dollars, but it was ridiculous. So it definitely is different when you're traveling around. But using like apps or like looking things up even on Instagram really helps me when I travel to find places that are vegan or have vegan options.
Totally not related to veganism, but watermelons are square in Tokyo, right? Or cubes?
I didn't see one that was square.
That history class.
Have you seen that?
I thought they made the watermelons cubes there so they would be more economical and take up less space. Kind of like how the cow's flesh burgers at Wendy's are square so they can fit on the grill more neatly.
I didn't know that.
I didn't see that.
Well,
yeah, I didn't see that.
Maybe I just had a really vivid fever dream one day or something. I don't know.
I mean, it's Tokyo. I'm sure somewhere there is something like that because they have literally everything. But I did not see it in my local supermarket. That's for sure.
Well, what was the best vegan dish you had in Tokyo?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't remember the restaurant. I wish I knew the name for you. But there's a restaurant that they have there where there's 3 of them all in Tokyo, and they all kind of have different like atmospheres, but it's technically the same restaurant, but they all have different menus. I'll have to message you later with the name of it, but they had a very, very good food. They had like beautiful vegan desserts and just like really unique foods that they had on their menus, and it was all vegan, which was awesome.
Well, I'm looking forward to putting that in the show notes.
Yeah, sorry.
No, that's all good.
We already mentioned this a little bit in the beginning of the episode, but what are some of those misconceptions you really want to dispel about veganism or the vegan community in general that you're trying to get across in your advocacy?
I am definitely trying to just normalize veganism and show people that it's not all what you see online, which is typically like angry vegans fighting with each other. It's very normal. You can live a very easy and normal and fun life. It's not difficult to eat out. I just feel like it can be very, very normal, very fun, just like everyone else lives their life.
Awesome. That happens to be vegan. That's how you get people to join the good side.
Yeah.
And I have one final official question. Why do you hate coffee?
Oh my gosh. Coffee is bitter and it just gives you headaches. I don't understand why you want to spend your money on free headaches, or not free headaches, like $5 headaches. I don't get it. I am awake in the morning and I'm ready to go.
I'm awake in the morning ready to go too, but the sun just shines a little brighter when I got coffee in my cup.
The only time I will drink a coffee is if I am like driving home late one night and I have like a really long drive. But even so, I'll make my coffee like 50% of it is like almond milk and sugar. Like it's not even coffee anymore.
Nice. I am actually on your side with the coffee thing. I worked at a coffee shop for 5 years as a event coordinator, but I also on the side for them helped roast and grind their beans, or seeds as they're actually called. But yeah, like the stuff we had to do was just horrible, and like it stained your clothes, and like it was just not fun. it was gross. But like one thing I did learn is, it was funny that you mentioned bitterness, but if you add like a tiny bit of salt to it, it actually kills some of that bitterness. But,
oh, you did tell me that. I forgot about that.
Yeah, but I don't like coffee. I used to when I was a kid, and I was just like all about it. But after working with it, and oh yeah, I'm with you.
I will definitely have to try the salt thing. There's not a lot of times where I have coffee and some salt next to me, but next time.
Just keep packets with you.
Yeah, in my pocket.
But yeah, I'm with you on the coffee thing. And I saw your video. Again, you made really funny faces when you were like trying them, and it was like, oh.
Yeah.
You all are weird. Coffee is amazing. Literally all
that's
I drink.
how most people are, and that's why I'm like, I can't get with it.
When you come to my house, you can either drink water, coffee, or alcohol. There's really nothing else.
Well, I'll drink all of the water and alcohol.
Well, I hope you like cheap vodka that comes in giant plastic bottles.
Oh, God. All right, I'll have water.
All right, before I let too much slip about my vices, we're coming up on half an hour. So, John, do you have any questions left for Natalie?
I can't think of anything right now. Yeah, I don't have anything. We pretty much nailed everything we were going to ask that I had for. You're amazing. Keep doing what you're doing. I think it's great.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I got nothing else.
Well, this is coming from a man who doesn't own a TV and never really watches anything online. I've actually been having a fantastic time watching your videos. So I'm very glad, if nothing else, that I now have another place to go meander around my free time. So again, what you do is
that's
great.
So kind. Thank you. I'm really glad to hear that. Thank you so much.
And do you have any parting words for our listeners, or any specific videos you'd like them to check out, or just any final pieces of advice for anyone out there?
I don't know if I have a specific video, but definitely go check out my YouTube channel. If you haven't seen it before, that'd be awesome. If you're not vegan already, definitely, look into it. If you already are, keep it going.
And we'll put your YouTube channel in our show notes and everything too, so people can actually check you out and everything. So.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
And after you're done subscribing to her channel, just go ahead and go to your favorite podcast station and subscribe to ours as well,
Yes.
Be Kind Podcast. So thank you, everyone, for taking your time this afternoon, and have a fantastic rest of your day.
Bye.
Bye.
Welcome to the Be Kind Podcast with your host,